Hi, everybody, and welcome to the March edition of Grafton Minute by Minute, a program that highlights events that take place here in the town of Grafton. I'm Bob DeToma, and our set looks a little bit different this month because we're just highlighting some new pieces that we've been using. But be that as it may, let's get started. On this episode, I want to feature an interview I did with Superintendent of Schools, Jay Cummings. He was in studio recently, and we got to learn a lot about him. So take a look. So I'm in studio with Superintendent Jay Cummings, Grafton Schools. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
How are you today?
Very good.
Good.
Couldn't be better.
Good. Glad to hear it. So I've got all kinds of interesting questions to ask you. None of them are going to be difficult, I hope.
Great.
So let me start with the one that's been driving me crazy for the longest time. Who nicknamed you Super Jay?
That would be Tim McInerney, town administrator.
And what did you do to get that name?
I don't know. I really don't know. I
But
hope
you'll-
I live up to it.
But you'll run with it.
As long as I can. Absolutely.
I'm kind of jealous. I wish I could get that nickname. Well, anyway, doesn't matter. So you are originally from Holliston.
Yes.
And by some strange stroke of coincidence, so am I.
Yeah.
So did you always want to be an educator as a kid?
Yes. Both my parents and my grandparents were all educators. My dad was over in the Dover-Sherburne schools. My mom was a English teacher, then a librarian. So I pretty much knew I always wanted to be a teacher.
Right.
Came out of college, and that's what I did.
So where'd you get your first job?
New England Center for Autism.
Uh-huh.
Right out of school, worked there for 2 years. It was a great school, great opportunity. They also helped finance a master's degree, which I couldn't have afforded otherwise.
Right.
So did that for 2 years, then I moved out to Arizona, and I taught out there for 3.
Oh, wow.
So,
And
yeah.
why over to the other part of the country?
I think I was just kind of being the rebellious young 20-year-old. I'd never been out of the state.
You don't seem rebellious.
No, and I'm really not. But at that point, it felt pretty rebellious. My cousin was at ASU Law School out there. I didn't know anybody else.
Right.
It's kind of funny. I'll try to keep it short. But
Well, we got all the time in the world.
I told my boss at the time that I was leaving. Going out to Arizona, I had my dog, a car. I was going to go out there. I had a teaching offer. And she said that her sister, her younger sister, who was looking to be a nurse, was certified, and it was a real nurse shortage in this area, had a job offer out there. And she was going to travel out to Phoenix, Arizona as well. And said the timing was about the same. Said, at least you guys can drive out together.
Oh, wow.
If a car breaks down. You know, we both had lousy cars. So I met her the morning we drove out there, we ended up getting a 2-bedroom apartment. We're strictly roommates. She had a serious boyfriend. But we eventually ended up falling in love and got married, and I live with her in Grafton now.
Wow. How'd you get rid of the boyfriend?
He took care of that himself. I don't know how he did it, but I'm very grateful.
Wow, what an interesting story.
Yeah, it was different.
Wow.
So I missed New England tremendously. I think the summers out in Arizona are, I think, worse than the winters here.
Yeah.
It was a legit 110, 120.
Yeah.
And but it was a good experience.
Wow.
Came back, and I never hoped to leave.
So in your role as superintendent of schools, do you ever hear voices in your head from people in your past in Holliston? Can you think of anybody?
Yeah, I can. Probably Mr. Wilson, my 8th grade social studies teacher. It had a huge impact on me. He would talk about what it meant to him to be an educator.
Right.
And I already knew I was kind of on that path, but that definitely confirmed it for me. He just had a profound influence on me, and I think without a doubt impacted the direction I took in life.
That's interesting. I don't recall teachers ever talking about their love of teaching.
Yeah, it was pretty rare. Maybe that's why I remember it.
Yeah.
Maybe I was listening for it a little more than most, thinking that I never really thought about doing anything else.
Right.
But yeah, he had a big impact. I think my schooling, my experiences in Grafton, in Holliston, good and bad, influenced what I became as a teacher and a leader.
Right.
No question about it.
I can remember my math teacher from high school, Mr. O'Reilly, and I remember him walking into the room at the beginning of the school year, and he'd say, "Does anybody in this room play football?" Of course, all the football players raised their hand, and he said, "Well, then you better pass this course because you're not going to play." And I just remember thinking, "I like this guy."
Yeah.
He was hardcore, but there was something about being seated in a classroom and having a teacher that was hardcore and rigid and strict.
Yeah.
Seemed to be attractive as opposed to teachers who were a little bit more, loose, I guess is probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for that.
Because it seemed like chaos reigned when that happened. But
yeah, I would agree with you. And then just adding to that, the teacher where you felt known and valued as a person. Those are the teachers that to me really made that lasting impact.
it's funny too, because when I reminisce with friends from school and we talk about teachers that we recall in our past. Unfortunately, we don't often refer to teachers who had an impact. We more or less recall teachers who did things in class that we think, man, they'd never get away with that now.
Right, sure. Oh, absolutely.
My drafting teacher used to stand in front of the class and drop his pants and tuck his shirt in.
Yeah, I don't think that would go over really well.
Yeah, just think back and it's just like, man, it's a different time. So when you come to Grafton as school superintendent, did anything kind of blindside you and you were just like, wow, I didn't see that coming?
Good question. No, I think I had a pretty good sense of what I was getting into. Probably not necessarily because it's Grafton, but the job as a whole, although I was an assistant superintendent for 2 years and really studied the position, if you will, I think I was still somewhat overwhelmed by how overwhelming the position can be. I mean, there really isn't anything that happens within the school day that couldn't impact me as superintendent.
Right.
From food service to cleaning of the schools to I know more about boilers and school roofs than I ever imagined I would.
Right.
The entire curriculum, anything that could happen to any of our 3,000 students and their 6,000 parents and guardians. That piece was probably a little bit surprising.
So have you seen it all as an educator?
No, I don't think so. There's always something new.
So
it seems like every day there's
so
something a little bit different.
Right, so there is something out there lurking that is potentially going to catch you off guard.
Yeah, and I'm finishing up my 3rd year, so I still have a ways to go. But I've loved it, and while that's overwhelming, I love that no 2 days are the same.
Right.
I mean, not even close.
So what's your private life like in town?
For the most part, it is fairly private. I had a lot of questions. I had a lot of warnings from other superintendents who I look up to about being a superintendent in the same town that you live in. I don't think I would have actually done it if I was very social outside in my private life. I have 4 kids who I'm always driving someplace. My life's pretty full with kid stuff, and then when I'm home, I'm kind of home.
Yeah.
I'm, doing stuff around the house, out in the yard, painting the house, doing that type of thing.
Right.
If I was more wired to go to tons of parties and activities and have a just, very outgoing social life, I think it would be. I don't think you could do it. Quite frankly.
Well, you're kind of high profile, being superintendent. So I would imagine if you ran down to, the ice cream place down at Lake Ripple.
Yeah,
people are going to approach you and just start asking questions, or
people have been, knock on wood, they've been unbelievably respectful. Like, I'm all for somebody coming up, say hi. I get that you're going to ask a question, but
sure.
I've yet to have that scenario where somebody comes up and just unloads or just tries to pin me down in a public place. That hasn't happened. I'd like to think that is connected with my style, which I try to, as a leader, be as open as possible. I mean, if you want time with me, you're going to get time with me. Whether it's on the phone, whether it's in my office, I'll go to you. So I think that's probably a big big piece of it. I'd like to think it is, but
Yeah.
I often have my kids with me, and people will say hi, and they're friendly and great, but nothing. I can count on one hand the number of times somebody said something negative or kind of done something where I had to say this isn't the time.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't so much digging for the negative, just the fact that you would be approached every time you stuck your head out of the house, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm already kind of used to it. And again, people are great about it. Kids will always,
Yeah.
give me a high five and be almost shocked that they see me at Stop and Shop. But you just say hi and go on. But they see me a lot in the classes and schools.
Right.
So people have been great.
Yeah.
It really hasn't. I was a little worried going into it and how that would play out and if it would affect my children, and I don't think it has.
Yeah. It's funny, like there's two places in town if you want to be seen. It's either the Grafton Inn or Stop and Shop.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, no question. No question. And yeah, it's worked out really well.
Yeah. One of the things we joke about, here at the studio behind the scenes is that whenever there's a snowstorm coming, and we always say, oh, I wouldn't want to be Jay Cummings,
Yeah.
Trying to,
That's
how's
one
he
of
going to
my-
make the decision on this one,
That's one of my least favorite
Yeah, I would imagine.
parts. It's really, to some degree, it's a no-win.
Yeah. So is it an art form or science? How do you make that decision? What do you?
I'll let you know if I ever figure it out. We participate or receive weather reports from a weather service. Dave Krause is fantastic with DPW. They have a weather service,
Yep.
which really just tailors a weather report to your area, to
Right.
Grafton.
Right.
It's still somebody taking their best guess and using their science to come up with something. They could be wrong, just like Channel 7, Channel 5, Channel 4. So we start looking, people start bringing up a storm to me as soon as, it's probably not even on the West Coast, and they're saying, in 2 weeks, we're going to have a major storm. So I keep an eye on it all the way through. I do communicate quite a bit with area districts to see what they're getting for information, what they're thinking in terms of the timing, amounts, et cetera. We work closely with the transportation company and, of course, with DPW. Dave Krause is fantastic. But we communicate days before the event, the morning of the event. It really gets going about 4 a.m. with discussion, with check-ins with people. There are a couple landscapers who are fantastic, who plow during the winter, who will give me calls and give me updates on what they're experiencing. We seem to be lately, the last 2 years, like every snowstorm that seems to have a line, we seem to be on that line,
Right.
which makes it really tough.
Yeah.
So we try to keep, safety, and obviously safety's first. We get, I don't know what my percentage is. It's pretty high so far. I made one bad call last year. This year, called school with some area districts, and snow never came.
Yeah.
People have been great about it, though. Like that day, I wasn't thrilled about going to work to hear about it nonstop.
Yep.
The secretaries all give me a hard time.
Sure.
But I didn't receive a single phone call or email.
Yeah.
People know that we're doing our best.
Right.
I
So
think.
on a snow day, do you go into the office or do you stay home?
Almost always go in.
Oh yeah.
We close the offices. I think we did a couple storms back. If it was like 10 to 12 inches, it was just unsafe.
Right.
But generally, we go in principals, assistant principals, school secretaries.
Yeah. My teacher at home still gets excited every morning when she finds out she's retired,
Yeah.
but she still gets excited when she knows it's a snow
Yeah.
day.
It's one of those, like, everybody gets excited generally about the snow day,
Yeah.
but you pay the piper end of June,
Sure.
where they conveniently forget the snow days and say, oh, how could we're going into almost
Right.
July.
Right.
And those are tough. We don't have air conditioning. We do our best, but June's tough.
Yeah.
No question.
Yeah. So we have the attention of the entire population of Grafton. Is there
Yeah.
anything you want to promote? Anything you want to talk about? Any hot topics you're working on?
I strongly suggest everybody keep an eye on the developing town budget. I think that's going to it's big every year. I think we're at a real tipping point, this coming year. So I think it's important that people are just aware of what's going on in terms of the budget. keep an eye. We have the Grafton Facebook page, started up last week. We were up, I was just told, up to 192 likes.
Mm-hmm.
I put a post up yesterday. I was very proud that we went over 100, and I was bragging to my daughter, who's in high school, that we were at 115 likes, and she said that was an embarrassing number. I should never even talk about it, and pointed out that one of her friends has a cat who has a Facebook page and that cat has well over 1,000 likes, and that hurt like you wouldn't believe. So I put out a post kind of begging people to like. We have gone up by about, I don't know, 70 or 80 in the last 24 hours. So any likes would be appreciated.
All right, so search out the search out Jay's great. Now, which page is what? It wasn't your page. It's
Grafton Public Schools.
Grafton Public Schools Facebook page.
Yep.
Search it out, like it, do it right away. And well, thanks for coming in.
Well, thanks so much for having me.
Appreciate it.
I really appreciate it.
All right, we'll send it back. You know, from time to time, people stop and ask us, how do I get to do TV programming in Grafton? Well, here's a little piece that I did in conjunction with Chris McMullen, which will tell people how they too can be a producer. We'll be right back. Are you interested in becoming a certified producer for Grafton Community Television? Then sign up for our 2014 Spring Television Production Course.
This 8-week course teaches you everything you need to know to produce a show for Grafton Public Access. You'll learn about what public access is, how to use the studio and portable cameras, and how to create your own stage set, as well as how to edit your shows for broadcast on GCTV.
The 2014 Spring Television Production Course is open to all residents of the town of Grafton, as well as town employees and local business owners. The course will begin on Monday, March 24th. So sign up now by calling the studio at 508-839-2983 or email us at gctv@graftontv.org.
Pink is my new obsession. In pink, it's not even a question. Yes, in pink, on the lips of...
Hello everybody, I'm Bob DeToma and I'm in the Town Administrator's office. As you can see, I'm here with Tim McInerney and we're going to talk plastic bins, but more specifically, pink ones, right?
Yeah, we have pink bins that are available. Everybody knows back in July we went to a addition to our curbside recycling program. We're offering smaller pink bins to raise awareness and funds for breast cancer and for cancer awareness. We actually have a two-pronged program. We have pink bags. You've probably seen them curbside. They're the small bags. They're an option for people to buy. They're not mandatory for people to buy. You can still buy the green ones. You buy these pink ones, $1.25 of the proceeds goes to the Susan G. Komen Foundation. So that's for trash. For recycling, the second bin, which is a 64-gallon toter, can be E.L. Harvey. They will deliver it to your house as a second means of recycling for $76. And $15 of that $76 goes to the American Cancer Society. So if you're interested in it, you should take advantage of it. The pink bags are sold at CVS, Goretti's, and Stop and Shop. And like I said, E.L. Harvey sells these pink bins for $76, and $15 of that goes to the American Cancer Society.
So if the citizenry wants to research this further, they can call down here,
They can call us, yes.
or they can go directly to E.L. Harvey.
Yep.
Two options.
Yep, and hopefully you'll scroll the phone number for E.L. Harvey when you do this, so
can
they'll
do
be
that.
able to see and they can get some phone calls. I don't know what the sales are for these pink bins to date. When we first started in July, 2 weeks in, we only had 2 sold, so it's very slow going. But to see these curbside and to get awareness and discussions surrounding the issue is important to us, and also raising the small amounts of dollars that we'll raise means a lot too. But the awareness piece, I think, is the most important.
So there we go. We're trying to get the word out, and we just did. So you can contact E.L. Harvey, or you can contact us down here at the Town Administrator's office and get more information about the Pink Bin program.
Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you remember what a sock hop is? Well, if you don't, no worries, because I have a lady that came into the studio recently that can tell us all about it. From the Grafton Historical Society, I had a short conversation with Pam Jones, and here she is. Okay, well, I'd like to welcome to the studio Pam Jones, and she's here to represent the Grafton Historical Society. Welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here.
It's nice to be here.
So why don't we start off with something simple?
Good.
How did you get involved with the Grafton Historical Society?
Well, I have always lived in Grafton, and I recently retired from my job, and I've known Linda Casey for some years, and so I went up to the Grafton Historical Society just to see what was up there, and it's a wonderful, it's just a wonderful place. There is so much history, Grafton history.
It's an
everything.
amazing resource.
It really is. Costumes and documents and just to learn your history. And then I've been to a couple of the programs that the society put on that they have a lot of times at the community center in South Grafton. And at the last one I went to, Linda was talking about how they were going to be having this sock hop. And would I be interested in helping out, because she knew I was no longer working. And I said, sure, sounds like a fun thing to do. And so that's how I kind of got into joining the society, and now we're planning this 1950s and 60s sock hop for March 15th.
So we should take a moment and we should say what a sock hop is. But if you watched the Board of Selectmen's meeting the other night, someone got up and explained what it was, right?
A sock hop is for people of a certain age, 50s and 60s.
Right.
And it's really what it sounds like. Girls back then used to wear bobby socks
Right.
and long poodle skirts, and the boys used to usually have a kind of a duck-tailed Elvis Presley haircut with their T-shirt and their sometimes with their cigarette pack rolled up in the
Yep.
side of the T-shirt. And
Yep.
so we used to have, well, we just call them dances, but they really were sock hops. So
Right.
we used to have them at what's the Municipal Center now,
Right.
in the gym, at the Polish Hall in South Grafton. And it was just, back then, it was just people playing, we just had some records of the old 45s, and people just got together, teenagers, and danced, and just, it had a really good time. It was
Right.
a really, it's obviously a time gone by, but I'm sure holds fond memories for
Right.
a lot of the people.
And the gentleman that was from the Historical Society who spoke in front of the Board of Selectmen the other night was talking about how you had to take your shoes off because you weren't allowed to walk on the gymnasium floor with your street shoes.
Right.
So that's the meaning of the sock hop.
Yep.
So this is essentially a fundraiser that the Historical Society is holding,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Hopefully, it'll be profitable.
Right. And is this
Yep.
the first year that they've held this event, or is it?
I believe so.
Okay.
I don't remember anything else like this, although there may have been as I'm a new member, but I think this is kind of the first year
Right.
that they've started this. And again, it is a sock hop, and there will be dancing. There'll be a DJ that's going to have all the tunes.
Right.
But some people don't like to dance, but there's going to be a lot of nostalgic things there. They have different little things planned, and even if you're not a dancer, just to go and sit with people and remember the good old days.
And reminisce. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So where are they having the event?
It's going to be at the it's called the Municipal Center now. We always think of it as the old high school.
Right.
And it's going to be in the gymnasium
Okay.
where we had many sock hops.
Right.
And it's going to be on March 15th from 7 to 11. We're going to have pizza and make your own soda, make your own ice cream sundaes. We'll also have beer and wine available. And there's going to be some interesting little things will get people's attention. And
Right.
again, it's just a great way to get people together and see old friends and maybe make some new ones and just
Right.
swap stories about a simpler time.
Right. So what do they have in mind for decorations?
Oh, we've been online and we've got a lot of just 50s like jukebox things and posters and Elvis things, and just there's amazing amount of stuff out there that you can
Right.
get, and we're going to try to be really innovative and make it just a real fun
Right.
fun time.
I would imagine that there's a lot of work involved just in the decorations. alone.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of work, but I think it's going to be worth it. The decorations, we're still in the planning stages on exactly what we want to have, but it will be, I'm sure when whoever goes, they will walk in and go, oh, wow, this is, and being that it's in the gym, especially people from town, are just going to be, you know, anytime I go back there for any reason, you just walk in there and you're transported back to when you were in high school.
Right, right.
So it's going to be fun.
So is everybody going to take their shoes off?
You know, I hadn't thought about that, but I will ask Linda Casey, who's the president of the society, and they may well. You know, that may even be a requirement when we get there.
Right.
The janitorial staff may say, okay, you can have this, but the
Yeah.
shoes come off.
Right.
And you can. It's going to be optional whether you care to dress.
Period costumes.
Those vintage costumes. But if they're going to make us take our shoes off, we probably better wear Bobby socks.
Right.
to
Yeah.
get-
Absolutely.
But it's really fun when you go back there and you go into the old school.
Right.
And see.
Right. So it sounds like it'll be a good time.
Yep. I'm
so
sure
if,
it will.
if I want to get involved and buy tickets to support this this great cause, what do I do?
Well, you can call the society at 508-839-0000, or you can email to L-Casey, C-A-S-E-Y, at msn.com.
Okay.
And those are all lowercase letters.
Okay.
And you can get all the information then.
Right. And of course, that information scrolls across the screen as we're talking, so everybody can contact you.
Oh,
And
good. Very
that'd be
good.
great.
I think it will be. I think it's going to be a hit.
Yeah.
Hopefully it will be.
Sounds like a creative idea, and it sounds like a good time.
I think it's a very creative, especially for people that grew up at that time. And even if you didn't go to a lot of sock hops, most of us all watched American Bandstand.
Sure.
And the DJ is going to really have a playlist that's just going to resonate with everyone, I think.
Good. All right.
Well, thank you so much for having
Thank you.
me.
I enjoyed it.
I did too.
All right. And that wraps it up. We'll send it back to the studio. And that wraps up this edition of Grafton Minute by Minute. I'm your host, Bob DeToma. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you again in April.